Hey guys, Jake Palat here, and today we're going to go over the tantrum. What a tantrum is, if you don't know, is a heelside jump with a backflip. So, the first step to figuring out a tantrum is it makes it much easier if you can do a backflip on a trampoline. That way you have a little bit of background and it's not a completely foreign feeling throwing yourself backwards and going upside down. So, that's a great place to start. Make sure that you have a dialed backflip on a trampoline, and if you can do that, you're well on your way to getting started on the wakeboard. So essentially what you're doing with the tantrum is you're allowing the wake to trip you into the flip. It's called a trip flip for that reason. The way that works is you edge hard in towards the wake and stop your edge, and as you stop it, that shift in momentum helps to trip you around into the flip. For that reason, this flip tends to come around really easily as long as you're fully allowing yourself to be tripped at the wake. So you've got heelside jumps dialed, you've got a backflip dialed on a trampoline, you're ready to start going for it on the water. Where I recommend starting is one wake between 15 and 18 miles an hour. You basically want to go as slow as you can while still getting a clean wake on your boat. So with that in mind, where you want to start with a tantrum is focusing on how you approach the wake. So you want to turn in really quickly towards the wake, building up speed in the beginning of your edge, so that as you get to the wake right at the bottom of it, you can fully let off of your edge and square up to the boat. And that's going to allow the wake to trip you into that tantrum. So we're set up one wake, going nice and slow. I recommend edging out about 10 to 15 feet from the wake, getting a nice aggressive turn in to build up speed, and then right as you get to the bottom of the wake, you square up to the boat, turning your shoulders sideways, stopping your edge, and standing up nice and tall at the wake. That's going to allow the wake to trip you as your momentum shifts. Standing up tall will let you rise well. And then from there, it's just like doing a backflip on the trampoline. So if you're used to laying it out, go ahead and throw your head back and look for the landing as you're coming around. If you're used to doing a backflip a little more tucked up, stand up nice and tall and send your knees and your hips upwards and over. As you come around, you want to try and spot your landing as soon as you can. This will give you bearings for where you're at in the air and in the flip as you're approaching the landing. One really common thing that I see as people are starting to figure out tantrums is it feels like you're not able to get enough snap into the flip off the wake. So you're working really hard to get that flip around. The way that you fix that is building up more speed in the beginning of your edge and then really dramatically letting off and turning to square up at the wake. And that momentum shift and that speed is what's really going to snap you around into the flip. So for me, that's the most important part, and especially when you're doing it one wake, going slower, that's something to really focus on. Build up speed, square up, and stand up nice and tall to let the wake do it for you. You want to land right around the middle of the wake in the bubbles, and the reason we learn it slow is just to help yourself on falls, because you're probably not going to land it first try. So going a little bit slower helps it hurt a lot less, making it easier for you to continue to try more and more as you get comfortable with the feeling. Once you get it dialed one wake, it's time to figure it out wake to wake. So you want to approach it the same way. You'll go back up to whatever speed you're used to riding, cut out nice and wide, giving yourself a long approach to build up that speed. And then as you get to the wake, it's the same thing. You're squaring up, standing up nice and tall. So with the speed of the boat increased, it should come around even easier because it helps to snap you around quicker. So the key takeaways for bringing it wake to wake from one wake. Number one is just be confident in your ability to do it. If you're doing it one wake, you'll be able to get it wake to wake. In my opinion, it's easier. It's just a little bit scarier because we're going a little faster. Number two, cut out really wide so that you have a long approach to build up speed before you have to square off at the wake. And number three is really just exaggerate squaring off at the wake and standing up tall. That way the wake will kind of kick you around that much easier. With this extra air time, you can still try to spot your landing very early. That way you can adjust your body position and speed as you're coming around. It's very important to keep your eyes open during this trick. I know a lot of people that try to learn it, but panic and shut their eyes when they get started into the flip, and it's impossible to know where you're at in the air and in your flip if you're doing that. So stand up tall, let the wake trip you, keep those eyes open and looking for the landing as you come around, and you'll be getting it in no time. There are a few common issues that I see when people are getting started with tantrums. So a common issue when you're first getting started with tantrums is just being a little bit afraid of what the outcome is going to be. So to get over that, one thing you can do is slow your boat speed way down so you're doing it one wake, and as you approach the wake, just ditch the handle. Just throw it, hit the wake, and try to get a backflip around. That way you're going even slower, you don't have to worry about the rope being in the way or anything like that. That'll get you comfortable with the board on your feet committing to that backflip. Another common thing that I see is people having a hard time getting the snap to get the flip around quickly and get the height that they're looking for out of a tantrum. Generally that comes from not letting off of your edge aggressively enough at the wake. So the reason this is a trip flip is because you're letting the wake trip you into the flip. So if you're coming in with a strong edge into the wake and you're holding that edge all the way through, you're just going to kind of slide off the wake and get a little bit hung up as you're doing the flip. So it's really important that you build that speed early in your edge on the way into the wake, and then as you get to the bottom of the wake, you over-exaggerate, squaring up, turning sideways, and standing up really tall so that the wake can do its job of tripping you into the flip. The third most common thing that I see is as you're coming around from the flip, you're a little bit sideways and unable to stay stacked over the board when you land, leading to butt checks or falling out the back on the landing. A lot of that comes from your weight distribution as you take off from the wake. So make sure that you're pretty evenly weighted on both legs. If you're back foot heavy, it's going to make you do the flip way out the back and land all the way on your back leg, making it a lot harder to stick the landing. So make sure as you're edging in and standing up tall at the wake, your weight is pretty evenly distributed between both your legs. Overall, I hope these tips are helpful. If there's anything I missed or anything specific that you guys are struggling with, definitely let me know in the comments and I can try to help you out with that. These were the main points that I think about when I'm helping somebody with learning a tantrum or when I'm doing a tantrum myself. So I hope these ones make sense to you guys and are the most helpful as you're taking your backflips to the water. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions or any tricks that you want to work on that we haven't addressed so far. And all in all, hope this is helpful and hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.